Alright. That's the main boom. Well, they call it the main cylinder, but it's like I was saying, it's part of the closed loop with the basket leveling system. It really has no bearing on the boom per se of going up and down or in or out. And that thing's leaking like a sieve. But that was the hydraulic fluid in it. It's pink. It's water in it or something else. I don't know what the hell got into this thing, but I think this is part and parcel of leaking and water intruding, and I think that might be from, I don't know, but I know the fluid inside the cylinder is not supposed to look like that. I don't know if you can really get a good sense of the color, but you can see that it's not red. It's some kind of pinkish. But anyway, I got it apart, if you will, so I'm gonna pull the piston and shaft, and you know, the gland nut looks to be okay. Start on this one. This makes me curious though. 3/4 inch ratchet, 1.25 inch socket, and a 2-inch piece of 2-inch Dom cheater bar. I think it's like 0.120, some stuff I used for roll cage on my Bronco, the big Bronco, and that got it. And I noticed, as compared to the oscillating valves, the bevel on these spacer rings are different. Like this one, the bevel is facing inward, and on this one, the bevel, come on thing, is facing, hold on, the bevel's facing inward, which is not how it was on the oscillating ring that I paid attention to. So I don't know what the deal is. So this one, the flat side is inward, and the bevel, it's hard to see, but the bevel is facing outward. I don't know. I'm just going to do them as I found on the oscillator, because this one is leaking like a sieve. It had like, you know, it actually had brownish looking crap. Just was not good, man. This thing is leaking like a sieve. It'd be nice to know where that water's coming from, because this is in a closed circuit with the leveling cylinder for the basket. So I'm wondering now what's going on up there. Anyway, I'll continue on. And this this piston came off lickety split. As compared to the one on the last oscillator I did, that thing was just totally a beast. Much better condition too around the lip. Still, why was this thing leaking like a sieve? I mean, I tilted it out here when I was getting the gland nut loose, and fluid was just dripping out of it by tilting it at an off angle. So that's how bad this thing was leaking. I kind of You can kind of see that discoloration there. That's what it was like on this thing. Some of that now is because of the seal, the seal flapper. Seal is cracked in there. Can you see that? Hold on here. Can you see that? This seal is cracked. Let me get a screwdriver, my small screwdriver, and point it out. I think you can see it. See in there. It's cracked right through there. Wow, not good. Yep, pretty gnarly. Well, I think that answers some of the question. Why was this leaking? Man, this thing is in gnarly shape, just all together. Answers my question. Alright, let me pull this apart here. So this is the kit for the master cylinder on my S40. There's the Genie part number, GN59050GT. That is the number. That is the kit. And I think that's the, I think that's the, what do they call it? The max quit number. It's good information to hold on to. New stuff, which is always good. Alright. Let's figure this thing out. This is a little different than the other. It's not exactly, this looks pretty much to be the same as the oscillator piston as far as the seal configuration and the I don't know what you call them, slide or positioning seals. But I'm going to take a picture of this guy. I want it up here on my table. Sunshine. Okay. I don't know if the brake cleaner just deteriorated that thing or if that's how bad it was. That's crazy. The swiper seal is Kaputski. That thing was Kaputski. That. Oh man, that seal below it, the ring is just crumbling. Look at that. That is bizarre. I don't know if the parts cleaner, the spray just did that to it, or if this is just how bad this stuff was. I mean, I saw it was cracked, but it could certainly explain why this thing is leaking like a sieve. Faux show. Man, that is crazy. Look at that stuff. Alright, let me gear here and flip you back on in a bit. Alright, clean this up a bit, quite a bit, and a few observations in that you can see on this first metal ridge that separates the flapper or the scraper seal from the main seal. A lot of pitting on that ridge, on this ridge here. See, a lot of pitting on that thing. Also a lot of pitting in the inside of the valley where that slipper, slapper, flapper seal goes. There's a bit of pitting in that as well. Cleaned up in here, the bottom of that ridge, hard to see in there, but of that top ridge, or of that ridge down there, is down here. That side of it's kind of pitted as well, so I'm not sure what the dope is. Contamination for sure, the way all that fluid and crap looked, but I'll work with what I got. Cleaned it up. Hopefully these seals will compensate for that. That hard plastic ring is what goes up against that. So anyway, looking better. Got all the crap off of it. So you can see this master cylinder for the back of my Genie is a cylinder part number 59071, June 6, 2000. And it's probably the serial number 741. So yeah, this 25 years old, but it had been rebuilt. I could see that it had been rebuilt previously. But that's the cylinder number for this one, for my S40 that we're working on right now. Just thought I'd share that. Cleaned up the piston. Cleaned up the gland nut. So now we'll put it back together. O-ring and seat or spacing ring, easy peasy. The seating ring goes down first, followed by the seal with the, channel, pressure channel or whatever, facing down like this, or as they say, towards the pressure side. So this, then that, and for that I have to use this. Now I'm on my second or third try with that, and I got it down a little bit better. Not perfect, a little bit better. A little bit of grease, just a little bit, but some power steering fluid on it just to keep it from being dry, if you will. that. All right, now. Now for the seal. Okay. Did it again. Keep putting it on backwards. There we go. Works better when you put it on correctly. Works much better when you put it on correctly. Oh. Try it again. Do that. Let's see if I can. There. Got it. It might have been easier to go in from this way. That's probably what I'm supposed to do. Man, that other seal was so cracked up and thrashed. Okay. Alright, and like Flynn. In on the piston. Alright, let's see if my effort today goes as smooth as the one yesterday. And it did. That's cool. I like that trick. Saw that. Saw it on YouTube. Saw it on the internet. And it worked. Alright. And then I think I mentioned that I'm putting these on how I found the oscillate. And that is the taper outward, flat face inward. Alright. Right on. So these guys are old. But I'm going to keep them because I love them. Alright, so gland nut is on, so I need to replace these doohickeys and then put the piston on. Alright, last little doohickey, and that is on. Alright, so now confident. Get a little bit of persuasion. Just a little bit of persuasion. So much better than the oscillating one. Man, that thing's getting that thing off. Get it almost off. That's enough. That's a fit. Alright, it's on. Put the nut on and see. A wee bit of thread lock. Tossed on. I'll tighten this up. And this part of the science project is over. Now, I don't think this thing's looking too hot, this cylinder. There's some scars, like there's a long one right here. Can't feel it because it's too far down, but there's a couple of scars on this thing. And this thing had muck, like some of the muck in it. Muddy looking rusty muck. Let me see if I can feel it with my wood stick. Yeah, I can feel it in there. I think this thing needs to be honed. See about how to get this thing. I don't know if I want to go back to the hydraulic shop I've been using because they just don't seem to be on the ball anymore. I got bought out by somebody and they just seem to be kind of in a bad state. Took forever. Man, they used to be like super awesome. No, they're not so super awesome. All right. Well, we got the cylinder back. I got the cylinder back from being honed. So let me see if I can give a shot of it down there. Never mind all the crap over here. I gotta go through and make sure I got everything that I asked for correctly in an order of stuff. So that's the... Looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but it was pretty crappy to start with. So we will see how this goes. I asked the guy, I said, since this isn't a closed loop system, reading the Genie manual, not that I'm an expert on these Genies, even though I own one, haven't owned it all that long. Man, that's got some marks on it too that I can feel. Huh. Yeah. I should probably run the couple thousand grit on that before I do all of this. I will. I'll have to, I'm gonna run some real fine, maybe 1,000, 2,000 grit over that. I don't know what the heck. That's in part my question was to these, if this is closed loop, because this thing had like water in it, looked like mud or goop in the bottom of it, sludge. I'm kind of concerned now that the actual bucket, so the cylinder up front that levels the bucket basket, that it's got crap in it. Because I just am baffled about how much crap was in this, and the only thing I can think of is that the seals were so bad that water and crap was coming down here. Doesn't explain what was in the bottom of this on the bottom side of the piston. Excuse me. So I don't know how all that crap got into this, but this thing was wound up leaking like a sieve. And I can feel a little bit of, not bad, but a bit of something there. I'm not sure. It looks like this thing cycles all the way down to here. Anyway, so let me get some sandpaper and see about some wet, dry emery cloth and see about that spot right there. All right, so it is better. It's not perfect by all means, but it is certainly better. It's like you can't feel anything this way, but if you, even with your fingernail, nothing grabs it. You can just tell there's a difference in the surface. What would you say? The surface, I don't know. You know, it's just, you can feel the change in the surface, whatever. I don't know how that would have got that way. Of course, this thing's 20 years old. Who knows? But best way to find out is to find out. So let me put this thing back together. I'll need to put some lubricant and go from there. A little 2500 grit on the rod. Need to change these O-rings out. Go get those out of my Parker kit. And then I'll clean out those yahoos, the eyelets. I swear, you can never use anti-seize and not get it all over you. But I got gloves on this time. But I anti-seize the pins. Keep them from seizing. I don't know if you can see up there. So now we got to put the hoses on. And actually this went fairly well. The pins fit nicely. They slid right in. I bought new pins just because I was going to use them on the other cylinders, but I didn't use them. I got them actually after the cylinder was done. But anyway, I put new pins. I flapper wheeled out the ears and then put anti-seize on the pins, or actually in the ears and in the center eye. Keep that hopefully from getting any rustier than need be while I own this machine. After that, good riddance. I took the caps off here because I had to adjust it up and down to get it to fit, you know, to get it to go. Now the hoses, and that'll wrap this cylinder up. Pretty much the tools to install the cylinder. O-rings, the Parker kit. I've had that thing for like well over a decade. It was cheap die grinder. I'm not even sure. I guess I'm shooting with too much air. Rated for 90, I think I'm getting 125. I'll have to change that up. The wrenches, and this was the I mentioned I bought some pins for these. These are the 1 inch by 2, so you can see what that part number is. Anti-seize. The hose is 13/16. The nuts, or the bolts, hold in the cylinder pins. The pin cotter pin things in is 9/16, and the caps and stuff for the hoses that I bought are 3/4. 13/16, 3/4, and 9/16. Die grinder, some anti-seize, some O-rings, and that's all it took me to install that cylinder. So it's back in. Give it a test tomorrow.